Interrupt, I'm best at that.
Well, let's start over again. Like, on Grandma's side, was there a story about someone in the family helping people escape from Poland?
No, sure. My grandfather, that was my grandfather, and probably my grandmother too.
On your mother's side?
Yeah, on the mother's side. And I remember they
You
often,
want to state the name.
his name was
This,
Zisk. That was Michael and what was it? Michael and what?
Eva.
Michael and Eva,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Mike and Eva Zisk. And often they mentioned they'd come at nights, and my grandfather often also, he had to, during the evening, make trips from the farm where they lived on and take them on inside Germany, so they connect them with railroad so they could go on their own from there on.
What time period was this?
What?
What time period?
Before the First World War.
Yeah, that
And-
before the First World
And
War.
those people mostly came from Russia.
Russia. You can tell there might some among them. There was enough of them come through there. There could be some of them that turned out to be celebrities.
Well, shall I tell you about the one? One time there was one person up there.
Sure, talk loud enough.
There was one person out there that came up there, and they put him in the house and put him up in the attic. They were hiding him, because those folks lived right by the border, the Russian border. I think their farm was right against the border, and they had, soldiers guarding that, and those people had to sneak across at night in the dark. Well, it happened that one guy showed up there that my grandmother wasn't interested in him, but he was interested in her. And he had made arrangements, through that town, at that time, those marriages were arranged. So they made an arrangement, he wanted to get married to her. And, she was one of those that knew everything. She knew how to spin, she knew how to cook, and she knew how to weave and everything. She was one of those that knew everything. Sorry, Russian, he was too ugly. And when she saw him later, she said he grew up to be a really handsome man. But they got him across, I think he did. I think that time they took him up to the north, or to that sea, just off of Portland. They got him out there.
Was that before she was married then?
No, she met him after she was married again. When they got him in the house up there, she had been married, and I think she must have been married for quite a few years at that time. But in the meantime, he had gone to be and he was a very rich man, because he had one of those. If he was going to come after her, he was going to come afterwards with the coach and 4 horses.
I also imagine at that time, the people that wanted to get away from there,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't think they were just farmers. I think
No, it wasn't a farmer.
No, I mean most of these that wanted to pass through that area, I think many of them, the way you were saying, some of them had considerable amount of money on them.
Well, if they have a coach and 4 horses, you know darn well there was something behind him.
Yeah. See,
What
that's,
I wonder though is, why did they try to get him away in the night?
They had to sneak out of Russia.
They sneaked out of Russia?
Yeah, it must have been that time when they had that dark trouble when they were being slaughtered at that time.
I think there was.
That was before World War One.
I've heard Ma talk that sometimes there's some of the Russian officers even went down there on their place there, and well, I don't know if I should put that in here, but that's what she was saying. Some of them Russian officers came down there and told Grandpa what was going on there too. In other words,
In other words, he just helped them to get away from Russia?
more than that.
They were on friendly terms with those those soldiers.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
with them and,
Mhm. As a matter of fact, the soldiers even let him go into Russia when there were big weddings going up there, and they were invited to those weddings. Those soldiers allowed my grandmother and grandpa to go over into Russia to event.
I can't understand though why it was Russia, because Poland was between.
Russia, they were right by the line. You never know always in Russia.
yeah, they generally,
Yeah, it was Russia.
was Poland in existence even at that time between the,
Oh, yeah.
before the First World War? Are you
Poland-
positive of that?
Poland was, it was Germany and Poland just back and forth all the time.
Yeah, I know, but there was one time there was no Poland.
Well,
I
I
don't
don't
know,
know.
I don't know the period. How about it, Marie?
But
In
sometimes-
what, was there a Poland, just before the First World War or not?
yeah, there was a
There
Poland,
always
yeah,
was a
but
Poland.
Russia invaded sometimes Poland, sometimes the Germans did it. Like
Uh-huh.
it was always divided.
There was always a Poland though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there was always Poland. But
Mhm.
sometimes, just like now.
Mhm.
So this was in Poland?
Yeah.
That this
That was
happened?
all happened in Germany.
in
East
Germany they
Prussia.
came.
East Prussia,
Mhm.
okay.
You tell that.
Yeah,
So what are we gonna, what was,
well, that this
It's
was
all
confidential,
confidential.
whatever
Yeah.
was said up till now.
what
confidential,
comes
this one-
now is confidential?
No, what was.
The whole thing, it's confidential. The whole thing.
Yeah. Mhm.
And why?
Why it's confidential?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
secret.
there's,
There's people living in Germany
it's
yet.
possibly it could, somebody may have to pay dearly for some of that information, or probably somebody paid dearly for it. So that is one thing, and,
And even today you feel this way?
It could happen,
Even today?
yeah.
yeah,
I think it's
yeah,
much
yeah,
never find
yeah,
out. It
it's,
could, they might go after
you know,
that family. Anyway,
some of these early,
you don't think so?
No, that is längst vergeet. That is past. That's almost 100 years ago.
No,
Almost, it's
Yeah.
70 or so. Oh, but
yeah, 80 years
that
maybe.
is history, interesting history,
Yeah.
but nobody will come you there.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know if it's confidential or not, but,
No,
It's still.
yeah,
should be kept in
it's
the family.
interesting, I know that
Probably, yeah.
much. I know it's interesting.
Okay, you've talked about, this is on your grandmother's side of the family, right?
Yeah. You
Okay,
ask
the
questions.
name was Zisk? Michael and Ava
It wasn't
Zisk.
grandma,
This.
it was the mother's, his mother, our mother's side.
Okay,
My grandmother.
your mother's,
Well, they were married then.
your mother's side of the family.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so do you know of the names, were there brothers and sisters?
Yeah, there was Michael and Joseph. No, Johann.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. And then there was Augusta who died during the First World War.
And Maria, she looked just like Ma. I couldn't hardly tell them apart when we visited them in 1971.
Joe said the same thing.
Yeah, they both looked alike.
And then our mother, she was the youngest in the family.
Huh?
Mom was the youngest in the family.
You didn't mention Augusta.
Sure I did. She
Oh.
died.
Yeah.
What did she die of?
Flu during the First World War.
Maria, she died, well, I would say roughly that is her sister in 1972, the one that looked like Ma.
So was there 3 girls and 2 boys?
Mhm.
4 girls with but 3 living ones. You know.
Died as a little girl. Wasn't it?
They had a little girl too that died. Really,
Yeah.
huh?
What, I even seen her name the other day, but
Was it Matilda?
I don't know really.
Michael, he came to the United States. What year was that, do you remember? He vanished.
In the early 1900s, wasn't it?
They never did. He wrote one time he shouldn't get in contact with him until he writes again. and he never did. That was the last, that when he wrote that, that was the last I heard of him.
Did the rest of them,
I think they taught
Stay.
after that too, but they never could get any satisfaction out of it.
did the rest of them stay in East Prussia then, or did they migrate into Germany, or?
They migrated into Germany.
Mhm.
East Prussia was Germany.
Yeah, East
Yeah,
Prussia.
but that was
East Prussia.
in
That wasn't Germany anyway. East
Oh.
Prussia. East Prussia is Germany all the time.
In fact, that's where the upper, you know, like the king or
Where
somebody.
Bismarck and
They was all born
they
there.
were all, the higher ups were born there.
It's part of what is Germany
They were-
today?
No, not today. They lost that. The Russian wanted it, I guess. Isn't that right? The Russians, they wanted, after this war, the Russian kept it.
Poland.
After,
Poland.
Poland has
No, I
now.
thought the Russians still got it. I thought they wouldn't let that go. I thought I
No,
heard
that was
somebody
around
say.
only Königsberg, wasn't it, Marie?
The area
Yeah,
around
around
there.
Königsberg. The rest is all Poland now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
After the
Königsberg,
Second
isn't
World
that East
War.
Prussia?
after the Second World War.
Well,
sure.
At that time, was East Prussia then like a state in Germany, or?
But
It was
yeah.
joined. It was joined.
No.
And then, before the First World War, it was joined, wasn't it?
Before
then-
the First War,
And then,
yeah.
Then there was a corridor.
Hitler wanted a road
Corridor.
to East Prussia. And that, he wasn't allowed then, isn't that right? I guess
After
they
the
wouldn't
First
give it.
World War, they
Yeah.
divided, they took West Prussia out of it and gave that to the Poles because the Poles want to have an entrance to the Baltic Sea. And they got it in the treaty of
Where's the box at?
Versailles,
What's
that peace.
You call that
Can I
a
go
corridor?
by there? Around the
Was
back.
also divided,
Mhm.
was cut off from the
So that
mainland.
must be a
Go around the back.
province then, just like Alaska was to the
I'm
United
gonna
States.
put these on that light is bad.
Yeah,
Too much.
but was that, yeah. So West Prussia belonged then to Poland.
Now,
At that time too, after the First World War.
I always thought that Russia kept all of East Prussia.
No,
After this,
no.
After
when they
the
went
First World War,
The second.
the second, no, the Russians, they pushed the Poles westwards into Germany. So on the Poles, they got them settled there in Germany, in the former place of East Prussia. See, on the Russians took them that part Ostpolen, or it's a mess there.
Of course, I don't think
Yeah,
that they're
it's
too
a
much
mess.
interested in
No,
this.
it's
are
a
you?
mess. Back and forth, forth and back.
I mean, for the picture.
No, it's a mess there. After every
Well,
What can you tell us about the Langwald side of the family?
You go ahead, Scott. Well, they originate, as far as I know of, in, I think in Salzburg, Germany. That's what my father told.
Austria.
Yeah, Austria. And from there, I think they was given a land grant or so. So from there they moved to East Prussia. And they had a little farm, oh, probably about, how much would you say it was, about 30, 40 acres? I don't think it was larger than that.
You mean his folks?
Yeah.
But it was the original, the ones that came early, they got very rich. They practically owned the whole village. But my father was the black sheep of the family.
See, I told you about it.
Uh-huh. And I guess he got into trouble all over and just whatever could be done he did out there. And then finally got married. I think he had 8 children, no? No.
8,
Your father,
4 boys and 4
Yeah.
girls.
your father was one of the Asian.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And one
well-
died out there. One of the sons died.
In
Oh,
infancy?
Franz.
In infancy?
In the
No,
First
as
World
a
War.
child. As a child.
Franz was
No,
killed in
Franz
the First
went to the
World
war.
War. He was
There
killed
was one
in
that
the
died,
First
one
World
boy.
War.
Before, as a boy.
Can you give me the names of any of them?
Of the children, well, they had Franz, they had Johann, John, they had my father, Carl, yeah, and-
Andreas.
and Andreas, yeah, Andrew. And then there was Maria, Johanna, and Franziska,
and
and
Carolina.
Carolina. Carolina was the oldest. And she, the mother died very early, so
Cancer. On cancer.
yeah, and as a result of that, that generally the male gets the farmer property there, but what was the name of the Carolina? She had to act as a mother if the mother died early, and as a result of that, she was given that property that he had.
I think she was 13 years old when the mother
Yeah.
died, and she raised all the children.
My
She
father,
was the oldest.
my father, he was in his early ages. I would say probably 8 or 9 years when the mother
I think he
died.
was 3 or 5.
Was that 3
Well,
or 5?
5 maybe.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't then after that was Johanna and then was Franz. was born.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And one uncle he left
Which uncle?
Uncle John. It's John. He left. I think before the First World War, he was already in the United States. You want a little history? What he done? Yeah, he. I think he was a elevator operator in Fairfield, Montana, and after that, during the World War, there was quite a little anti-German, and as long as he was German, he quit that, and he moved to New York, and they operated a resort down there for some time, and that's when they wanted us to, the Carl Langwald family, to come over while they had that resort there to help them out a little bit, because,
Was it just
After
him
that-
alone, or
That must
was Aunt
be
Martha with him too?
That must be the reason they applied for the visas and they didn't get it through in time.
mhm.
So,
You know why? The
What?
money went broke at that time.
oh,
And the money, they already had that at that time for the transportation here. And the country that was during the time when the money, Germany went through a bust just like it did when was that?
1923.
It was in 1922. They lost all their money, so they was broke all of a sudden. They didn't have the money to come across. And after that, Uncle came to Fairview, and I think he was a mining boss there, wasn't he, while he was in Fairview?
Yeah.
And
In what mine?
the Fairview mine, the Fairview coal
Jennison.
mine, the
Jennison coal mine.
Jennison coal mine, or didn't they call it? Wasn't Harry Flank the owner of it at that time?
That
But
Jennison owned it.
yeah,
Jonathan owned it.
all the time.
Mhm.
Even when they generated electricity for MDU,
Right, right.
well then it got to be Jennison that owned it.
That was Uncle John.
Huh?
That was Uncle John.
Yeah, at that time he was a mining boss.
You had one of them too?
And that's why he came
Yeah,
to
I
Fairview.
think that's it.
Yeah, I imagine
That's
he
when
thought
we
that's
came.
probably, we figured maybe he had worked for Pa, you know, while
That was the
it
first
came that. But that's my opinion, I don't know for sure.
But
All right.
Yeah.
but wait, the few books definitely that over there.
Well, I reckon all he knows was his arithmetic.
That is enough.
You got a lot of work to do in the elevator.
We said that once.
I was in Fairview.
And is he doing?
Now,
He was the boss.
what about the rest of the story?
Yeah, well, he was the boss at the mines.
No,
Foreman.
you mean the rest of the kids of the family?
Yes.
Yeah, well, like I say, the eldest daughter, she got the farm there, and even now, some of them, when short after the Second World War, sometimes they went down there, I think, or we wrote to them, and they still was on that same place there that my father was born in. Yeah.
That was under Russian occupation, I got a Polish occupation.
Under the Polish occupation. Well, don't you remember? They used to say they wasn't too much in favor because they didn't even if they weren't even allowed to keep their seed for planting. In other words, they took everything away and then they issued the seed for them. And like they were saying, that was darn little, not even enough to plant the whole place there. So, in other words, slave labor pretty near, that's what it amounted to.
Communistic then.
Yeah.
I don't think we've mentioned the name of your father's parents.
Oh, what was that? August, wasn't his name August?
Charlotte, yeah, August, Charlotte.
August, and what was her name?
Augustina or Augusta?
Wilhelmina.
She was Wilhelmina,
Oh,
are you
yeah.
sure of that?
Woman was named after her. I think
Did you bring my
Wilhelmina.
books
I never
back?
did know what her,
I think
It's
Wilhelmina
in
was
there, you know.
Wilhelmina. I think Wilhelmina was named
It is
after
my
her.
sister-in-law. No.
I think. I'm not sure though.
Okay, then what about some of the other children? Did they stay in East Prussia or?
Yeah, there was two
no,
girls
no,
married
no.
two brothers out there. That's two Langwald girls who married two Lindenau boys out there.
To Linden now?
They didn't,
Bernard and Wilhelm.
but
What
they,
about Totman?
That's well, Maria and Francisca. They married Lindenau,
Yeah, but, yeah, and then,
and they were hardly ever on
the one
speaking
that
terms.
the one that visited us married, Totman, what was her name?
Johanna.
Johanna, yeah, Johanna.
Now, they lived in Germany, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, mhm.
Oh yeah,
But they all lived
in
in
the western
Germany,
part of
outside of
Harland.
the one that kept that farm. The rest of them, they had no reason to stay there. See, Germany was a better place to live,
to find jobs, I
yeah,
imagine.
than down there in that area. That's like in here, the backward countries, what you're gonna do there.
Okay, do you know any, the story of how Grandma and Grandpa Langwald met?
Grandma and
Can
Grandpa.
I,
Your mother,
He hooked the camel's back.
what did?
Oh, he fell. Oh, he had horses in the coach up there, and he went on the ice, on the lake.
And got on the thin ice, the ice was too thin, and I've heard Pa say they blamed him for it.
They blamed
His father for
They
it.
His
blamed
father.
His father for it. It even said that he should have drowned rather than the horse.
And after that, they
Yeah, that-
inherited him.
Yeah, that's really what they said. That's what
his
they-
family disinherited him.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he lost those horses.
That was the last straw.
He had been in trouble all the time.
Horses was valuable.
See, Ruth, we ain't trying to cover up anything, just the way as it is.
So what happened to him after that?
Well, he married.
He went after, he later on, what the heck was the oldest girl's name that died?
Carolina?
Carolina had, Pa was even saying after that he quit and he worked in lumber industry. He was, I think he even, he ran these electric saws and he cut his finger one time, so that's the last. That was the last they let him operate that. After that, they wouldn't let him operate that.
Was it their own?
No, I think he was working for somebody else.
What about the brothers, other brothers of your father's? What happened to them?
Well,
Of
the,
your grandfather, you mean, huh?
not of my father, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
you know, Uncle John, that
Yeah,
was one,
okay.
and
Andrew?
Andreas, he must have continued farming because my father talked about him sometimes. He visited him and I think he enjoyed it, you know, while he visited him. And Franz, he was killed in the First World War. He died in action. And, yeah. And, that's the only one, or is there some of the girls? Well, I think Lizzie said, the two girls, what
you
was
taking
her
pictures
name,
now?
Maria and
Francisca?
Francisca, they married two brothers, and they live in West Germany now at both of them, their home addresses, and always has been, Dorsten.
They're all dead now.
Wasn't there a priest in there?
They're all dead.
Yeah, well,
Never mentioned
no,
that.
that was an uncle, that was
That was
not
the grandfather of, that was the brother of grandfather.
the priest, or who are you talking about?
We're talking about.
That was almost a great-grand-uncle,
Who's that?
August's brother.
August's brother? I don't know nothing, Maria,
Well, he-
Martha, about August's brother.
I don't know, was it August's brother or was it his uncle?
That priest, Pa always said uncle, he called him uncle.
Well, that would be his
Yeah,
brother,
and
grandpa's brother.
And he always was in favor, his political ideas was that part that the people spoke Polish there, and he wanted that part to go back to Poland, not to Germany.
Oh, his uncle?
Yeah, the priest.
Oh.
The priest.
The priest was his uncle?
Yeah, the pa called it his uncle.
Yeah, and he had cousins too that were priests.
That were nuns.
No, I've never heard of
No,
nuns.
no, I don't know.
Just priests.
I did.
Was that then the Langwald too?
Langwald, that's all the
Yeah,
Langwald.
the priest had the name of Langwald.
Yeah, I know he had a cousin priest and an uncle that was priest.
And I did hear though too that they had a couple nuns in the family, and wasn't it in the Second World War when they were shot down? Remember that?
No, I don't know anything
I
about
think
it.
the whole family was killed during the Second World War.
Well,
They said there was nobody left out
They
there.
said something about those two nuns, they were kneeling down when they were shot down.
Mm.
Well,
Yes.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
Martha would be a little older,
Huh?
she maybe.
who did that cheap shooting?
Well, I imagine the Polish or whatever in the Second World War.
Well, that must have come through the letters, you know, the letters that the folks got, because I never heard about that.
Well, I did.
Okay, Lizzie.
Please,
Is there-
and I don't sweat very easy.
Go ahead, Lizzie.
On the photographs.
Who are they?
Oh, this is my mother, Marie. No, this is Martha.
Okay, so I won't forget it.
Zisk at that time, Martha Zisk Langwald. Now.
Okay.
Uh-huh. This
Okay, just wait a second.
her sister, Augusta.
Do it again.
Who was the first one?
Maria.
Well,
And these are the three
just
kids.
do the bottom one, not the
This is
bottom.
Hans,
No,
this
no,
is
no.
Martha,
Fingers cut. Yeah, you don't put
and
that
this is
down.
Paul.
Get your fingers into that.
Maria, her oldest sister, and that's her husband. That's
Miletsky, but what?
his brother.
The relatives.
But it's nice if you can have him take the picture.
He was killed in the war.
Otherwise you might lose it.
Yeah, that is.
I mean, just-
First World War.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Don't you say that, that you can see here my.
Oh,
my
this is Carl,
grandchildren,
my father.
Children would get
Like little Nina's kids now.
Yeah, but I mean, this kids, so they.
About 1850, and her
Yeah,
grandfather.
yeah,
That's
my
the
grandfather.
And he also immigrated
Yeah,
into
that's
America.
a lot of things to hang on to, isn't it? that old?
It is my dad's brother, Andrew.
Yeah, but you
And
don't take a picture.
the one on the left, I don't know who that is.
Oh, it takes off into
Father's
Oh,
oldest sister and her family.
then when's he
The
going?
name is Rogal.
What was her first name, do you remember?
Carolyn.
Carolyn Rolgau?
Yeah, that's what she is now.
Monday.
I know the daughter is Anna.
I gotta go at 2
I
o'clock.
don't know.
Time you go.
I don't know what the boys' names were. I never knew them. I did meet the daughter in Germany in 1979. I mean, yeah, this is my father.
Start. This is
Your mother says,
this is Wilhelm Lind now, and to the left of him is Franziska, his wife, and yeah, he was a member of a little orchestra that Pa often played with. He played the bass fiddle, and Pa always used to tease him. He said he thinks he knows how to play. That's enough for a while now.
This was their 50th anniversary picture?
Yeah. And this one I don't know who that is. The right is Johanna. That's another one of Pa's sister. And to the left is her husband. And they live, neighbors practically to Willie and Franziska Linden now. They almost live close together there. And what else was it?
Yeah.
They visited us. Oh, do you want to hear that?
They took us.
They visited us in probably
These two are dead, aren't they?
1974 or so, Ma was alive yet, you know, when they visited us.
Well,
And
she had about
he
kids.
he always, he never,
Mhm.
what is it, Bernard Totman, he didn't want her to go anywhere. As soon as he died, she visited us here.
Yeah, I didn't think she'd be interested.
3 children. That's one thing. 3 children, France, and they visit us. One of the last that visited us about last year, and then a daughter.
No daughter.
Yes.
That was Linda's daughter, Bill.
Right.
Tottenham had no daughters.
Totman?
Had 5 sons.
Who was that? Oh, yeah, that's right. The France.
Give me the pencil. Where's the Tante Carolina?
Well, you took that one already.
And what was her husband's name?
Carolina?
I don't know.
I don't know anything about
Who is-
them.
Rogal.
Carolina is Carl's sister.
Rogal?
Grandpa's
sister.
Is that also August Rogal?
I thought we had this one about this picture.
Yeah.
This is
Be welcome, but
Pa, your grandfather,
Maybe
and this is
go back
Mother.
to that right off, you know, stay
And
out for 3 or 4 hours, you know,
this is Martha, your mother. This is Elizabeth, this is me, and this is Benny.
When was this taken?
Golly, you got me on that. We'll have to take a look.
Trying to get a visa to come to the United States, and about that time, the money ran down, and so we couldn't come.
But that's the tree, that's the only tree that I know.
Martha Langwald. This is Martha's daughter, Elizabeth. This is Carl, and that's Bernard, or Benny.
When was this taken?
This was taken before we didn't get to come to this country because the visa ran out, so we had to apply for it again
1925, I would
in
say.
1925.
Yep.
And this is my father, Carl Langwald,
Senior.
Senior, and this is my mother, Martha Langwald. Now the big picture. Oh, you want me to tell?
When it was taken and stuff.
No. This is my sister Elizabeth, myself, Martha. This is Benny, or Bernhard, and this is Carl. Carl Jr., huh?
Yeah.
Carl Jr.
When was this taken?
And it was
Part of the passport picture?
for the passport, only we were in separate pictures, you know, but Mom had it fixed, so she thought this would be nice to hang it on the wall.
So they took the 4 separate pictures and made it into one picture.
Yeah.
What do you have on your head?
Ribbon, ain't it pretty? Also, the dresses are black velvet. And I don't know about these sweaters, whether they were made by Mom or whether they bought them. But she made our dresses.
What did you do?
Myself.
See that coat?
And that's my sister Elizabeth, my brother Carl, and my brother Bernard. We call him Ben. Okay. When we came to this country, we had a very good neighbor that Mom and Frau Fischer, her name was Sophie, got along real good. And she accompanied us to the harbor, which was in Bremen. And, you know, we had to take a train to get to Bremen. And she accompanies us. And those were the pictures that were taken at the harbor.
Concentration camp for some of our
And-
ideas. I think that'd be good to. Are you sure of that? Somebody.
These, the photographer furnished them these outfits, and they were taken of them. That's Mom, my mother, and Frau Fischer. Her name is Sophie. They wrote to each other quite a long time, and finally, either they moved or something. We don't know where they're at. When we're out in Germany, my father had always been interested in music. And one time they all came together in front of our yard. And of course, I don't know all of them anymore. I think they were neighbor men. But this one over here is my father, Carl Langwald. Is that good? Okay, let's see. In 1971, Carl and Marie went to Germany, and while there, I asked them to, I told them to go to the back of the house and the front of the house, and that's about how much you could get on it. I mean, it was a great big length of houses, you know, all bound together. And this here was the back of the house. And my sister remembers that when they had that, when we lived there, but when they went there in 1970, when?
71.
71, why, she said that was all gone this year. Okay. Lizzie said also one thing, that one time when it was snowing, she dared me to go outside. We were barefooted in the snow, so I went around this here little thing, and she later did the same thing. That's just one of the funny things. And here's the front of the house, where the street, you know. We lived up there, right over the roof, the pathway. What do you call it? It was like a tunnel on the first story of the building.
What town is this in? What town is this in?
We lived in Bach by Gladbeck. This was one of the passport pictures. I think we finally got through. Or maybe not. No, we didn't. In 1970, Carl and Marie also, you know, they went to Germany, and upon my request, they went and took the picture of the church we used to go to. And since then, they rebuilt this one. That's it.
I don't know.
Do you remember
think
the
that
morning
is-
when we landed there at New York, how cold it was? We just wasn't used to that type of a cold.
Yeah.
Jogging
Well,
or
Pop said,
ballet.
be sure to have coats.
Mm.
You had little velvet coats, didn't you?
That I
you-
don't remember.
You're not taking it yet, are you, Ruth? Well,
Keep their ankles
Oh,
warm, maybe
okay,
there's a lot
we-
of stress in ankles.
We asked, I think, if you knew how Grandma and Grandpa Langwald met, and we never got to that story.
Well, Ma stayed with, and she went to south part of the Ruhr, Ruhr area to work someplace after she left home. They left there so they could
Schwell?
get away from home, you know, and because they don't always want to stay with mother and father. So they went down there. And she went to work in a factory, Schwelm, I believe it was. And down there she stayed with
Cousin Anna.
her sister. With her sister, she was married
Martha.
to Karl Miletsky, and Pa was a friend of Karl Miletsky. That's how they happened to meet.
She went to Horst, did not?
Oh, yeah, that was Horst. That was Horst. Mhm. Is that clear, Marilyn?
Yes.
Just a minute.
Where did they get married?
Pa himself left his home too, to go and work in the Ruhr Valley, where he could find mine work.
Ruhr mines.
Huh?
Age
Oh,
16. Age 16 he was when he started, when he left home.
Age 16?
Yeah, to start with, he was a horse teamster. He worked with the horses, not right away digging. That's what,
Oh, I didn't-
yeah. mhm.
On top, though.
Huh?
He worked on top.
Yeah, I imagine with probably, I don't know if it was on top or not, because I suppose they needed the horses inside too to pull the cars, loaded coal cars probably, from in the interior down to where they could load them up maybe.
In the, what is it, Jennifer mine, they pushed them.
Did they push the car? Well, down there, I think they use horses.
Evidently had to. It was a mile deep, wasn't it, the mine?
Yeah, it was deep mine. There's, I think, in many cases, there's probably 2 or 3 veins of coal, and they didn't always work at the top one. They had he often went in the second vein, probably even the third. That's what he told me, at least.
Anyhow, he stayed with Tanta Francisca, was it, or who?
Well, when they met, when Pa
When
and
he went to live with somebody too, didn't he?
Yeah, no, well, it could be, they wasn't too far apart. But he was a friend, like I say, he was a friend of Karl Miletsky.
Oh,
And
Carl.
and Karl Miletsky was the wife of her was the husband of her sister.
Yeah.
And see, I suppose Ma went to live with her sister, and then her husband and Pa knew each other, so that's how they got acquainted.
I asked her once how come she got stuck on him.
And Pa?
And Pa. And she says, well, she was standing out by the window up there, and he walked past up there, and she just sort of out of the window up there, just followed him with a glance. And she says he just got to the fence and just leaped over it, and it sort of stuck in her mind.
The attraction at first time.
The attraction. But she said that was the first thing she noticed about him, how athletic he was and how athletic he looked.
And 3 months after they met, they got married. We're having a quick courtship.
Uh-huh. And I know that Uncle Carl,
Miletsky?
he got mad. He said he wasn't good enough for her.
No, we could
Yeah, we heard that before, not here, another side.
Yeah,
That's how they met.
that's how they met and how they got married.
But there's a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah, he
mentioned
really got
about
disgusted
also.
with her.
When you were young, did you ever visit your grandparents?
Not very often.
But you,
One Fed was dead. Langwald side were dead. We were supposed to have gone and seen the disc in the country in Ostpreußen when we were little kids, but I don't remember any of it. Do you?
I don't remember, but they said you got lost at the depot. They had to look for you. They had to look for you. That's all I remember.
Well, I don't remember a thing.
And then when they sold their farm, they came up to Westfalen to live.
Yeah.
And they lived in the bedroom that was ours up there. I remember out there, you know, we were sleeping up there. Grandpa and Grandpa were sleeping out in another bed out there, and she cooked in that one room, and they did everything in one room.
And before they were pretty well off, but again, through the
Like money,
Yeah.
money.
money
bust.
problems,
Bust.
they did get paid for the farms, and they did divide it between all of the kids. And then the money busted, nobody got anything.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, and I remember they cooked the soup up there, I guess Uncle. That was the most horrible soup I ever tasted.
Uncle must be
Yeah.
big.
Pa told me the only thing what he salvaged from that
Farm?
inflation was that accordion, and we still have that today.
Johanna.
Well, Ma was alive yet, behind there.
Oh, she told me you said
So
it was
Ma
her
died in
husband.
'76,
Yeah.
so
I know that's,
I would
Grandpa's
say
sister.
maybe
and with your grandparents,
You know?
how many rooms were in this place that you lived?
how many what?
Rooms.
3 rooms up there. It was an apartment house, and there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 apartments in there.
So there's 3 rooms for
how many did we
Eight
live?
people.
Which wasn't
Well,
very
it
long.
wasn't very long.
Anyhow, there were 6 people until my grandfather died. And he died of a stroke. I mean, he had a stroke 3 weeks before he died.
8?
3.
It was 8. He lived with us, then there were 8 people when they lived with us.
Oh yeah, altogether it would be.
Uh-huh.
Where did he have the stroke, in the mine?
When he worked in the mine before that already?
He was sick and he died in the hospital.
His legs.
Yeah, I remember how they brought him from the mine back, and they took him to the hospital, and a day or two after that, he died.
Yeah.
That I
Maybe that was
remember.
the second stroke, yeah.
I don't know, that could be, that I don't know.
The second stroke, he had 3 weeks after he had the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, some of you attended school in Germany. What can you tell us about that?
Well, how
Not
mean
too
the
much.
teacher was. How mean the teacher was.
Yeah.
Girls had to go in one room, they were segregated over there. I mean, girls were in one room and the boys by themselves in another room. That
Yeah.
was different.
No,
Well,
they
the
was
sick
both
kids-
on the same room, one on one side of the room,
Mhm.
one on the other, that's how we were.
And when they were in the 6th grade, they separated the boys and the girls all together.
Well, that's what I remember when I was in
Yeah.
the 6th
Yeah.
grade.
What do you mean by mean, Lizzie?
What?
What'd they do that was so mean? What do you mean by mean teachers?
Well,
Awfully strict.
yeah.
Awfully strict.
Y-
I remember one time I looked out of the window and kind of dreaming like, and the teacher didn't like that, and I got slapped on my hands with a ruler.
Well, I got that for doing nothing.
I got one time almost because there was an error in his book. If it wouldn't have been for the kids coming to my rescue, I would have really gotten it.
What kid?
Yeah.
For a what in the book?
The kids, they backed me up.
What
the
in the book?
classmates.
What, somebody, you had something?
An error, there was an error in his book.
Oh, in
I
his
was
book?
supposed to read from my book, and his book had an error in it. And as a result
What's
of
it-
that, if it wouldn't
what's
be
an
for the
error?
kids, I would have got a licking because his
error.
book had an error.
Down there, they could lick us kids like that.
Yeah. If you misspelled a word, you got switched out there. And one time I remember, I wasn't feeling good. And I think school starts up there at 8 o'clock. And I wasn't feeling good in the morning, so Mom said, stay home. So in an hour I felt better, so I was sent to school. It was a cold day. And I got out in school, and when I got out there, the teacher said, you're late. I was too dumb to speak. I was too scared of the teacher. So I said, yeah. Anyway, I was too scared to tell him I was sick. So pretty soon I had real cold hands up there. They were so cold. And he said, stretch out your hands. And he switched me up there and do that on a really cold, really icy hands. Boy, oh boy, that hurt. And if you howled, you got more of it.
Bamboo, they use a
That was-
bamboo
yeah, that
cane
was a switch.
for it.
About like this. This size. And it was this long. And it went, that's how it went.
And I remember the first day of school when I went to school. I don't know, did Mom take me up? And when I got there, barely got to school again.
And the whole
Oh,
whole school ran after you trying to get you back. Your whole class. That's what Ma was saying.
Why?
Trying to get her back, catch her.
Evidently I've had friends.
But I mean, why did the school run after you, to fetch you?
I don't know why. The first graders, maybe the teacher so started it and all of that, and afterward joined. Well, it's first graders.
After that, I went to school every day.
Mom, you talk about a story of Benny's baptism too.
Yeah, when Benny was born, there was a couple of, I think one of them probably was an aunt, do you remember, who stood up with him? Anyhow, there was a couple that took him to church. I think the rest of us stayed home. Maybe Mom and Pop went with them. And they took Benny to church, and I asked them, where are you taking him? And they said, well, we're going to take him away. And I had a fit. I don't know what kind of fit, I don't remember, but I had a fit about it. I didn't want them to take him away.
You didn't think they were going to bring him back then?
I guess.
Did they ever tell you about the big doll you had out there?
Yeah, one year for Christmas they gave me a big doll. I guess it was bigger than I was. So I never liked it too much, and they hanged it up on a shelf on the wall, and every time I've seen it, I'm screeched my head off. I didn't like it.
They had it upside down. That was Grandpa's work. And she just screeched. He got the biggest kick out of that.
So I just thought I didn't like it because it was bigger than me.
No, you hung it upside down the whole time.
So I guess we had a lot of fun. Huh?
You celebrated different holidays different over there too, didn't you?
Oh, we had, when was St. Nicholas Day? Was it December 6th?
Yeah.
December 6th was St. Nicholas Day, and at that time we didn't get presents, but we went around to everybody's house and sang.
Ruprecht came around.
Who? Oh yeah, the St. Nicholas, wasn't it?
Ruprecht.
Who the heck is he?
And he was getting to know if you're gonna be, if you weren't a good kid all year long. And if you weren't, he did have a whip with him. He did.
He was the one that punished kids.
Yeah, he was the one that punished you before Christmas.
But anyhow, it was a custom to go to the neighbor's tree too, and I don't know when it happened, but one year I went and snitched Sophie Fitcher's, you know, Mom's friend. I went and stole a Santa Claus from their tree, chocolate Santa Claus. And then she asked who took it. She found out it was gone. Not me. Nobody would.
I stole some too, but I never let out. I guess I must have looked really innocent because nobody questioned me.
So, we weren't exactly truthful, were we?
They hung them on the tree. Candy.
The chocolate
Did
Santa
you have a
Claus. Yeah.
Christmas too then?
Yeah, we
celebrate
went.
Christmas too then?
We had our Christmas trees up then.
And we had one
By the
present.
6th of December, yeah, the Christmas tree up? No.
I don't remember what
St.
present.
Nicholas.
Yeah, I know.
St. Nicholas.
I think we did get nuts and goodies,
Yeah,
though, didn't
we
we?
had one plate full. We had an apple and an orange
On
and
Christmas.
nuts.
But that was on Christmas
Different
Day.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Each had a plate on the table. Nuts and candy and orange and apple. Cookies too.
Do you remember
a
any
year.
of that, Ben?
That was just once a year.
Do you have
Then we had
any
cheese
memories of
cake,
Germany?
too.
Hardly. Very little. I just remember a big drum was in there, and they say you ain't supposed to look in that because somebody put their finger in your eyes. That's all that I remember.
What was it? The Dickabombo?
Yeah, there was one close to our place there.
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember that.
End of the street?
I don't know, what it was, but I remember that big.
Yeah.
They said there was a little whole kid always wanted to peek in, and they said don't do that. Somebody will
Poke your eye.
poke your eye out.
Well, then on Easter, wasn't there something about finding something in the shoes? When did you find something in the shoes?
Oh, no. They didn't hide the eggs. Did they hide the eggs up there? No, so we learned that when we came to this. You remember?
When we came.
When we were in that over at the night store?
Oh yeah, but that, we already lived in this country.
Yeah, we lived in this here country, yeah. Oh, boy.
Go on with it, whatever it was. You were giggling.
Oh, yeah. We was gonna fool Benny up there, you know. We said that Bunny's gonna have some Easter eggs for him up there. We made him a nest up there. And filled it up with horse trade.
And what?
Horse trade.
I bet Benny don't remember that.
That was your doing. I don't know, but that was your idea.
Well, there was one time you were sent away from the home too when you were young, wasn't there?
Oh yeah.
That's yours. That's your story.
One year the government was sending some kids from the, some of the families that had more kids than, I don't know, was it 3 or something?
Yeah.
And they sent one of them off to the country, to stay through the summer, was it? And I went down there, and I don't remember too much about the lady that was in that house. She was kind of hefty. And, but I was on a farm, first time I ever was on a
Yeah,
farm and
you
stayed there.
You always talk over Fritz.
I don't remember them
Yeah.
either.
He was really nice.
But
There was a
yeah,
girl too. There was a girl in that family too.
could be, I don't remember that.
That was, I think that was their uncle or something like that.
And the town that I went to was the name Brandenburg. And later on, you know, when you seen pictures of Berlin, there was a Brandenburg gate.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether that belonged to the town that I went to.
Brandenburg was a province, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I went to Brandenburg. Was that a town too? And I stayed there about 3 weeks, or was it longer?
I think it was longer.
And when we came home, we went up there on a train. We came back on the train. And I remember when we went up, the whole bunch of people on the train said the Kaiser was a great man, or, you know, what would you call it? The Kaiser was a lieber man. And we all sang that.
Can you remember the song?
Huh?
Can you remember what the song would be like?
Der Kaiser war ein lieber Mann, lebt in Berlin. Und wenn es nicht so weit von hier, so ging ich heute noch hin. And we were always singing that. I remember that. It was kind of lively. And anyhow, when I came back home again, why, I suppose I came on the, you know, depot, and Mom noticed I was scratching my head.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned that you're gonna bring that up.
So she looked at my head, and I think the first thing she done when I got home was
She seen the life
Yeah.
out there.
she went and soaked my hair with kerosene. I guess that killed him, or did it?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
killed
yeah.
anything.
It killed him.
You only had him a little while when you came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when we got aboard the ship, remember when we got to New York? What happened
You
then?
mean they
Oh.
seen eggs up there?
Yeah.
I didn't remember that, but I heard
Yeah,
about it.
they looked at all of them, and then they got to her, and they seen the eggs up there, and says, how come? Then they had to tell the whole story. It says, well, that explains it, because nobody else has them dessert.
Can you remember any other childhood incidents that, from anybody else?
Oh, lots of
We always played outdoors with, I know a cousin came there and visited us one time, and so we went downstairs in the yard, in the play yard, and we pretended he was the husband and I was the wife. I don't know, did we have any kids?
Which cousin was it?
Tante Anna's.
The oldest boy?
Yeah. Garrett? Was that Garrett? George?
Walter.
I
And
remember
Garrett
Garrett.
Garrett was the lively one. And Walter was he was the big one, sort of heavy. Is that the one you
Well, he was a little older than I guess.
Yeah, that was Walter.
Walter.
And Garrett was the lively one. That's the one.
But, I don't know. Oh, there's another thing I remember, that when we were down there in Germany and they seen us kids, the other kids would say, Matalifa kala Betty Louie.
Yeah.
And I flew off the handle. I mean, I got mad.
Was it Louis or Fooey?
Louis.
Louis.
Louis, you know, Louis didn't amount to too much in those days. And they just did it to make us mad.
Yeah, I know. That I
So,
remember.
I do too.
anything else?
Okay, why was the decision made to come to United States? How did it come about?
They wanted to own a piece of property. That's what it was. They wanted to be on the farm. Both of them. They both came from a farm, and they both wanted. They never had a chance out there for anything.
We thought you'd find gold on the streets.
And Ken, yeah,
That's a fact.
and money
That's
on
a
every
fact.
tree.
And I thought I'd have candy every day. That was my big thing. Candy every day.
Yeah, and we finished up doing working week for one sucker a day. Remember that? For one sucker a day.
Okay, you mean the folks gave it to us?
They
Yeah, for
wanted it,
one
they
sucker a
wanted
day.
it, yeah. All day though.
All day. I
So
don't know,
Grandpa-
we talking about the treat, because we never had any. Yeah, we
Okay,
did have.
Mr. Renee?
Pa used to buy us a sack of chocolate every payday.
We did?
Every payday?
Yeah, chocolate,
I thought the only time we got anything was at Christmas time.
No, he bought us chocolate every payday, about paying was good at that. And then every Christmas he bought a big sack full of apples.
At when Christmas?
Hmm?
Every when? Big sack of apples?
Every fall.
Oh, every fall.
Big, I mean, a gunny sack full of apples.
Was that in Germany or here?
Mm-hmm,
In Germany,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
You remember that?
No, but I remember here, we had the boxes, apples always, we used to buy them here by the boxes. But in Germany, I don't remember how we had the apples.
Once a year, from the Bauer, you know the Bauer out there?
I remember how he carried the potatoes home on his back, all this 100 pound, you know, and bought them. What did he get them from the farmer's market? Do you remember?
I don't remember nothing.
I remember we raised them one year. We
Yeah.
went to a little vault and there was cuckoo, they always said cuckoo.
Mhm.
They had the cuckoos up there.
You mean they were really cuckoos up there?
Didn't we used to have a little garden there, there near the tracks there? I
Well,
think,
we had potatoes up there one year too, but we had a little tiny garden right in the back of the yard. I mean, where we lived, a little tiny one.
I think we had one there across the
Ditch up
the
there.
Schlammengraben, what we
Yeah.
called there.
Yeah, we had it one year, we had potatoes up there.
Yeah, there was a garden there, I remember that.
So in 1925, Grandpa came over by himself, is that right? Why was that?
Mhm.
I'll tell you one thing I wanted to ask the family. How much of luggage did we take along? Does anyone remember?
From,
From Germany
I
down
think
here.
there was two, that one leather one up there, yeah, and there was a great big trunk with the feather beds and everything, cork, you know.
Oh, we
cork.
did have a
Yeah, a great
trunk,
big
huh?
one, yeah, great big.
Uh-huh.
But it wasn't solid, it was just sort of like a
Well,
wall.
we had our tornisters full, I don't remember carrying it on my
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
That's what we used to go in school, you know, all the stuff there. And I'm sure we didn't have the school material, so it had to be some stuff
Important.
that we needed, you know, for clothing maybe or that.
Well, and I remember we bought little presents for everybody up there, so I think she sewed pockets in our petticoats and we had to carry them there so we wouldn't have to pay duty on them. I remember that.
Well,
Well,
why did Grandpa come over by himself?
to find out whether he liked it enough to send for his family later. That was the reason he came.
Oh, yeah, but they still wanted to have a chance of farming out there.
Yeah, that was one reason. They
And,
And they thought maybe, like we said, maybe there'd be a better chance for him up here in this country.
So he decided he liked it here, huh?
Yeah.
Then what happened?
Then we got word we could come in about 6 months, was it 6 months? He borrowed.
July, yeah,
and Grandma was the most disappointed for a while,
yeah.
until she got used to it, its
The
area.
US.
Yeah. Mhm.
Anyhow, my dad.
How long was Grandpa here first, though, by himself?
He
About 6
came.
months.
John Langwald sponsored.
6.
1925, the family came in 26, I think, right?
I think John Langwald sponsored Pa to come over.
John Eva
John Eva?
borrowed money to Pa. Her brother.
Yeah, but didn't John have to
Well,
have
the
work
first
for
time-
him here so he could come?
He's gone
Well,
like-
I imagine maybe for Pa, maybe.
Yeah, I'm talking
Uncle
about
did.
Pa.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think I told that one time to uncle and aunt, and I think they kind of resented that.
What?
So that John Isa, what we
I never
thought he
even heard
paid
that
for it.
before.
So I was wondering if he knew everything, you know, with that. Otherwise, they wouldn't have resented it, I don't think.
I always thought that the Jensen coal mine sponsored part of what happened. I think it was Jensen coal mine happened and John Eva happened.
Yeah, I don't know.
And anyhow, Pa borrowed $1,000. And within a year after that, he had it paid back.
Oh,
So
the
it
lady
didn't-
must have made good wages, eh?
Yeah, the coal mine paid out during those
Uh-huh.
days.
And in 1929, no, 28, we had a brand new car.
28, yeah, it was a 1927 model.
Beginning of the year.
$600.
600?
And I always thought it was 895.
No, no.
It wasn't, huh?
Well, that was maybe in 41 one day. See, that was coming along 900 when we bought that car in 40. We was buying 901. In 41, I think we was
The
buying
Chevrolet
the
it
car.
was.
And that was about 900.
I still remember during that time,